All right, ladies and gentlemen, got your watch list coming into September 13th, 2019, and the stock market went up today, but not enough. It was an action-packed day with a bunch of news literally from all over the world. So I'm going to talk about that pretty much this morning. There was a bunch of news. Well, there was the news that came out last night regarding the trade deal extension. Then there was the ECB. Then there was fake news. There is even research reports coming out with how just everything the market did. It was crazy. Unfortunately, we were not live today. I had an emergency that came up, but we will be good to go tomorrow morning. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you check out all the watch lists. And most importantly, you need to post your watch list below. But pretty much just sat on the positions we had. I want to talk about that, talk about what we're looking and setting up for, again, all the news that happened, and then the plays and even my expectations for tomorrow. So first thing is first, what we saw today was pretty intense. We got the gap up, and again, it just wasn't enough. It pretty much opened right where the futures were pointing to. Nothing after that, although we've seen this last time where the market went up. We actually went up a little bit, came down, and then what this pop was caused by was a report that it was fake news that there was going to be an interim, it was a rumor that there would be an interim trade deal with China, and the White House denied that shortly after. The market dropped, and then it kind of had this pop up here, but it was a gap up, and it did what it did last time on Thursday, but you didn't see as big of a movement. Now, we were expecting some, and honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I thought we had enough to send us up there past the all-time highs, but we didn't actually see that, and this is going to be the key now. Depending on how tomorrow plays out, we need gas to take us there coming into the Fed, because I think coming into next week, the Fed is Wednesday, Thursday. After that, I don't think you're going to see the market make too big of moves. So it's pretty much going to cuck and go back and forth around these levels. So I was surprised by that, but I think the biggest thing now, it was what came out this morning and everything that had to do with Europe. And honestly, I think you could see it in the market. I don't think it's a coincidence. 11:30 right here is the European close. Here's where we closed on our market at that same level. And guess what? That's right where we opened. I think this news outweighs anything we saw today. And I think maybe the president had an inclination of this, but the world was shocked by what happened here with the ECB today. They pretty much said they're going to do QE. There was positive, and again, we've seen how Europe markets have reacted when they've said they were going to be easing, but in this case, it was a bazooka, and it was surprising, so it holds some negative implications and what this could mean, again, even coming into the Fed. So I really think that's what the market was responding more to today, because otherwise, this trade news, kind of what we saw with the futures, this should have dropped, it made the market go up a lot more, but as that news started coming out this morning, it started to balance out everything. So that's going to be the key for tomorrow, is watching those developments, and now even watching the movements. If we don't see a move tomorrow, really, here's the one of the biggest winners today, Bank of America, but you could see how financials reacted today, and this is what I'm going to be looking for, is one of these moves that we saw with the SPY, but extended. The banks did it double, and this is really what I'm going to expect to see. Either we're going to get a gap up or a gap down. Watch for the move for that first maybe 2 hours or so, and then I'm going to be waiting for a bigger move on the upside or downside, and that's going to be where we want to take advantage of some of these plays. Even though it's disappointing that some stocks didn't move, I think it's going to lead to opportunity to get into some plays that are going to have some continuation opportunities. As far as some of the plays we made, I was actually pretty surprised. I had Roku. Remember, we sold those put spreads. Roku went down. Roku, Shopify, Shopify went up, but not as much as I expected. But now a lot of the plays pretty much stayed the same, which was kind of shocking to me. But as far as coming in tomorrow, I don't think we have too many plays that are expiring tomorrow. I have a few SPY call spreads, the credit spreads that I'm going to roll over, and that's pretty much it. But what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow is pushing it to the wall, baby. Do not forget about that. So we are seeing, and this is why I'm saying, watch for a move like this, because this is what is going to set up the frogs. If you don't know about the frogs, make sure you watch the video, baby. Just search the Trading Fraternity Frogs. But pushing it to the wall, the frogs, what I mean by this is you're going to see big moves that could happen intraday tomorrow, and option prices are going to lag. This is what I mean by pushing it to the wall, because we also have opportunities. I really like Apple, the fact that it kind of hit those all-time highs, that $1 trillion mark, and it just kind of literally just hit the brakes today. I was pretty surprised by that, to see that. I'm going to see if there is a move that breaks out tomorrow. You got to realize contracts are going to be expiring. So it's risky with the short-term plays, but it is also going to create an opportunity to get some, again, cheaper contracts that could be a little bit higher of quality. So watch out for that, but I'm going to be watching Apple tomorrow. Going to be watching Home Depot. We did the next week credit spreads, but I want to see where these play out, because especially now coming into the weekend, we have seen big moves. If you actually even look at some of the last Fridays we've had, every single time that these stocks like Home Depot, it had that crazy week, then take a look last Friday, it went crazy. Take a look at the Friday before that, it gapped down, went up, but it made gigantic moves. Same thing even with McDonald's. 2 Fridays ago was a big drop down, another big drop down, and then last Friday wasn't too much, but it still went up, and again, it closed above that key mark there. So watch Home Depot, watch McDonald's. We sold those puts, credit spreads on those yesterday, as well as Home Depot, and I'm still holding those. And again, if those are against me, I'll probably roll them out. But like I was saying yesterday on the watch list, I'm going to try to sprinkle some stuff out here. So I didn't want to get caught up with some of these moves yesterday. I'm glad, we didn't get caught up with moves today, because you could have tried to sprinkle and got killed on it. But tomorrow, if there's a move that happens intraday, a lot of these contracts are going to be cheap. So if you didn't trade today, you got saved from a pretty gigantic cuck fest. But watch McDonald's, watch Home Depot. Those are going to be good ones. Again, Roku, Shopify. If Shopify's, the fact that the market did go up and it held up a little better, watch for it to do that Roku thing we're talking about, because you could see the gap up, it's going to come up. So depending on what the market does, how that plays out could be good. And again, Roku's going to do its own thing. Now watch Boeing, because this is up there. It could make a move on Friday. If it does break out, I would expect this thing to move quick in the morning. And if it doesn't, then I might want to look to sell some spreads here. Again, that's something I wanted to do yesterday. Remember I said I wanted to sell some of those in the money puts. Those would have actually turned out really good. But 376 is a decently big move. But this is going to be, I think, an interesting level here with Boeing. I'd be surprised if it stayed there, but the only downside is tomorrow's going to be Friday. So, there may not be too big of a move, but the only upside that could cause a move is we have the Fed next week. So watch out for that. Watch out for Facebook. They moved slightly down, a lot bigger than anything. Again, you can see Apple was down too. Apple was barely down, but the fact that Facebook dropped almost 0.5% while the market still closed up, I think that was actually very interesting. So keep your eyes out for that. And if it does start to slip up here again back on the daily chart, you can see it's kind of holding an equilibrium level. So I like that. The next is going to be the banks. And now this is what I want you guys to see. This is what I called out here with the watch list yesterday. I said watch for the market to go up and TLT to go up, and that's actually what we saw. You guys saw the market gap up and TLT went up with it, and then it kind of inversed, and then it started to come down. But you kind of could see it's pretty much almost the exact opposite of Bank of America, where it actually did make a decent sized move, 1/6%. But Bank of America did about 1/6%. This is going to be the bellwether coming into all this. Watch, if you really look at it for the last few days, you're pretty much looking at a direct inverse of the banks and TLT. This is saying something. This is important. And again, these are both going to be probably those plays we're going to be looking to grab next week. So watch out for that. So watch Bank of America. Watch transports. They did, again, look for the industries that closed down today and closed up. But I want to see how the transports play out. I want to see if they really do stop losing their momentum here. But again, at crucial levels, I think FedEx is somewhat important. I'm going to keep my eye for that. But then I also want to see the stocks like Johnson & Johnson. Again, you can see these close down a little bit worse, but Johnson & Johnson, consumer cyclicals, Procter & Gamble, PG, all those, I want to see if they make some of these bigger moves towards the end of the day. And you can see how it's inversed from the market. That's what I'm looking for to give me some insight. And then finally, I want to watch NVIDIA and the other. NVIDIA still closed positive, but then also Intel. I want to see if Intel's finally going to be giving it up, but it's doing it again. It moved another 0.5% today. This thing has been beasting. So somebody has drawn a connection. They said ever since Apple took over some of them, and I think that could be it. But I want to watch how this plays in. I want to either get credit spreads or even then watch for a late day move, because if Intel starts to move crazy late day, kind of how like Bank of America looked on a Friday, you might be able to get some really, really cheap contracts on this. So watch out for that. And even if you remember last week, we sold that credit spread on Thursday, collected the profits, and it actually ended up in the money. So these could move pretty quickly, and they could go from very cheap to fast as far as the options go. Then for our riskier side of here, it's actually why I want to look at Beyond. I think it's going to be good. They went up. I think that falls in the Shopify Roku category. But now Baidu and Baba, I want puts on Baidu. The fact that I was expecting this to do a little better, it closed red, and it's not getting above this part right here. This chart looks ugly. This whole thing looks ugly. I think there's something going on with it, so I want to start looking out for October puts on it, because again, around the same time the Fed, that's how we made money on it last time. There was the Fed, and then it took like a day or two, then all of a sudden it gapped down out of nowhere. I'm going to be looking for this. So I like Baidu on the downside. Watch Baba. Now, they actually closed up the most. They did 1.9. So again, just like Apple, if there is going to be a continuation on the upside tomorrow, I might try to sprinkle some on Apple, get some of those on the upside, but same thing with Baba as well too. Then lastly, we already covered TLT, but SLV. I want to start setting up some of those plays. Like I said, I like those October plays, and these would start to be the Fed. I want to maybe get some, I want to look at some plays for tomorrow to see what we could set up for the Fed, but mainly coming into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but especially I think Monday and Wednesday, we're going to be making our trades coming into the Federal Reserve. So I hope you guys are ready for that. That is your watch list. I will see you in the morning. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you have the bell so you don't miss it. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Do your push-ups. Let's go.